Today on Poetry and Poets with SueAn Stradling-Collins, I'm going to tell you about National Poetry Month, which occurs in April, all of April. In 1996, the Academy of American Poets decided that they wanted to highlight poetry. Their purpose is to increase awareness and appreciation of poetry in the U.S. And so National Poetry Month was begun. Each year, they publish a poster. This year, they ran a contest. The art for this year's poster is by a high school student. And the name, let me read that. Artwork by Bao Lu, okay? And I love the line on the poster this year is from Joy Harjo that we just spoke about last week. There is nowhere else I want to be but here. I lean into the rhythm of your heart to see where it will take us. The posters are, I think, quite interesting. I have just printed one other one, and you can look online, again, poets.org, or just look up National Poetry Month posters, and you can find all of the wonderful posters that they have had in the years past. So in honor of this, I thought it might be fun to just read some poems about poetry. So we're not going to highlight any one author or poet, just going to read you a few poems. I chose one, of course, by Rodigan. This one's called April 7th, 1969. I feel so bad today that I want to write a poem. I don't care, any poem, this poem. Billy Collins, I'm going to be telling you about in the future. Billy Collins is still alive and well, and this is he used to teach high school English. And so I think that this has a lot to do with what he ran into as an English teacher. It's called Introduction to Poetry. I asked them to take a poem and hold it up to the light, like a color slide, or press an ear against its hive. I say drop a mouse into a poem and watch him probe his way out, or walk inside the poem's room and fill the walls for a light switch. I want them to water ski across the surface of a poem, waving at the author's name on the shore. But all they want to do is tie the poem to a chair with rope and torture a confession out of it. They begin beating it with a hose to find out what it really means. And the thing I love about that, I don't want to analyze poems with you very often, but the thing I love about that is that that's what we seem to do with poetry as English teachers. And I apologize, sometimes we have to, but we don't really need to beat it into any sort of meaning or anything. Sometimes we can read it just to enjoy it. And that's what I think these segments are about, is just reading poetry to enjoy it and give you some information. This is a poet I'm not familiar with, Sunny Rainshine, but I liked the poem. There's no title. Some say that people who like poetry live in a rarefied world, populated with pretty words and impractical thoughts and naivety. Yet, who among us have to be told that a great deal of life is drudgery and routine? That there are bills to be paid, that there are people who do not wish us well. People who love poems know that a simple arrangement of words will not rearrange the world, that ideals are sometimes never achieved, and that simply putting suffering into words will not abolish it. We poetry lovers do not need to be reminded that the world is not always turtle doves and red roses, but the sublime and the magnificent are also just as real as the mundane. A few more things about National Poetry Month. Each year, they choose a day that's called Poem in Your Pocket Day. And the idea is to carry around poems and to share them with other people by handing them out from your pocket. This year, it'll be on April 29th. Because of social distancing, they're asking that you do more of a social media kind of thing, or maybe just read one aloud on social media, something like that. I still think there would be ways to hand one out. I've done this before. I was traveling in Flagstaff and decided it would be fun. So I printed out a whole bunch of poems and carried them with me. And when I went to different stores and stuff, I would hand mainly the cashiers and different people poems from my pocket. I'm sure they thought I was crazy, but we're okay with that. Also, we'd like to encourage you to like the Concho Public Library page, because the Concho librarian, Carol Roberts, will be reading a poem a day for the entire month of April. So please go to the Concho Library site and like her page and listen to her poetry throughout the month. Don't forget to like our page and to share it. And don't forget, I need to tell you about poets.org is the Academy of American Poets site, and they publish a poem every day that can be sent to your email if you sign up, and so you could be receiving poetry in your email every day. Enjoy poetry throughout April and always. Thank you.